Did you know that the DNA of modern cinematic spectacles actually lives within YouTube's hidden archive of forgotten historical epics? Beyond short clips, the platform preserves complete masterpieces that served as the grand blueprints for Hollywood's biggest blockbusters. Today, we explore 15 free epic films, uncovering the production secrets and legendary icons who brought these ambitious, larger-than-life visions to life. Number 15. Caesar the Conqueror, 1962. Caesar the Conqueror, directed by Tonio Boccia in 1962, stands as a prime example of the Italian peplum era, a period when European studios were prolifically producing historical and mythological epics. This film takes its inspiration directly from Julius Caesar's own military commentaries, specifically De Bello Gallico, which chronicles his difficult campaigns against the fierce and disparate tribes of Gaul. Cameron Mitchell, a veteran American actor who successfully transitioned into the European genre scene, brings a rugged and authoritative presence to the role of Caesar. Unlike many other sword and sandal films that lean heavily into mythological fantasy or supernatural elements, this production attempts a more grounded historical approach, focusing on the tactical maneuvers and political maneuvering required to subdue the Gallic forces led by Vercingetorix. The cinematography captures the grand scale of the battles, utilizing hundreds of extras to depict the clash of Roman legions and tribal warriors in the vast open landscapes. Production trivia notes that the film was part of a larger wave of Italian-produced historical dramas that often shared sets, costumes, and even supporting cast members to maximize production value for international markets. Mitchell's performance is often cited by genre enthusiasts as one of the more nuanced portrayals of the Roman leader during this era of filmmaking, avoiding the caricatures often found in lower-budget offerings. The script, co-written by Arpad de Riso and Giovanni Scalaro, balances the grand scale of war with the intimate betrayals and alliances that define the Roman Republic's expansion, making it a fascinating look at mid-century historical recreation and the enduring fascination with Caesar's military legacy. Number 14. The Black Swan, 1942. The Black Swan, released in 1942, remains one of the most celebrated pirate adventures of the golden age of Hollywood, showcasing the peak of 20th Century Fox's production capabilities. Directed by Henry King, and featuring a screenplay co-written by the legendary Ben Hecht, the film is a vibrant and swashbuckling adaptation of the novel by Raphael Sabatini. Tyrone Power stars as the dashing Jamie Waring, a former pirate who joins forces with his old captain Henry Morgan to clean up the Caribbean of rogue buccaneers. Maureen O'Hara provides a spirited and memorable performance as the governor's daughter, further cementing her reputation as the Queen of Technicolor. The film is historically significant for its stunning cinematography, which won an Academy Award for Leon Shamroy, capturing the lush blues of the ocean and the fiery reds of naval combat with a level of saturation that defines the era's visual style. Production details reveal that the film's success helped solidify Tyrone Power's status as the definitive swashbuckler of the 1940s, following his triumph in The Mark of Zorro. The score by Alfred Newman adds a sense of grand adventure, emphasizing the romantic and heroic themes that Sabatini's works were known for. Critical impact at the time was immense, as the film offered high-quality escapism during the dark years of World War II, presenting a world of clear-cut heroes and daring maritime exploits. The chemistry between Power and O'Hara is electric, setting a standard for romantic adventure pairings that would be imitated for decades. It is a quintessential example of the pirate genre, blending humor, romance, and high seas action into a seamless cinematic experience that looks as impressive today as it did upon its initial release. Number 13. Esther and the King, 1960. Esther and the King is a fascinating biblical epic that represents a unique collaboration between the veteran Hollywood director Raoul Walsh and the rising Italian cinematographer and director Mario Bava. Released in 1960, the film tells the story of the Jewish maiden Esther, played by a young Joan Collins, who catches the eye of King Ahasuerus of Persia, portrayed by Richard Egan. The narrative follows Esther's rise to become queen and her subsequent efforts to save her people from the genocidal machinations of the king's treacherous advisor. Historically, the film is noted for its lush visual style, which bears the unmistakable mark of Mario Bava's innovative use of lighting and color, even though he was primarily credited as the cinematographer and second unit director. Joan Collins provides a charismatic and grounded performance in the title role, showcasing the star power that would later make her a television icon in the 1980s. The production was filmed on location in Italy, taking advantage of the expansive sets and historical architecture available to European productions of the time. Raoul Walsh brings his decades of experience in the adventure genre to the project, ensuring that the political intrigue and romantic drama are punctuated by moments of grand spectacle. The film's focus on religious faith and political resistance made it a staple of the biblical epic boom that dominated the late 1950s and early 1960s. Trivia enthusiasts often note that Bava's uncredited directorial contributions helped elevate the film's atmosphere, particularly in its more dramatic and moody sequences, making it a significant entry for fans of both Hollywood epics and Italian genre cinema. Number 12. Messalina, 1960. Messalina, directed by Vittorio Catafavi in 1960, is a dramatic exploration of the life and death of Valeria Messalina, the third wife of the Roman Emperor Claudius. Starring Belinda Lee in the title role, the film delves into the political corruption, sexual intrigue, and ruthless ambition that defined the Roman court during the 1st century AD. Catafavi, who was known for his artistic approach to the peplum genre, elevates the material beyond standard sword and sandal tropes, focusing on the psychological depth and tragic trajectory of its protagonist. Belinda Lee provides a powerful and nuanced performance, capturing the character's transition from a naive young woman into a manipulative and ultimately doomed figure of history. The production is historically significant for its portrayal of the decadence of ancient Rome, utilizing elaborate costumes and set designs to recreate the splendor of the imperial palace. Production trivia reveals that the film was part of a larger trend in Italian cinema to humanize the often vilified women of antiquity, presenting them as complex players in a male-dominated political landscape. The screenplay, co-written by Ennio De Concini, emphasizes the claustrophobic nature of power and the inevitability of Messalina's fall as her enemies close in. The film's cinematography and direction are praised for their elegance, often favoring slow-building tension over overt action. Tragically, Belinda Lee passed away shortly after the film's release, making this one of her final and most significant contributions to the genre. It remains a standout of 1960s historical drama for its focus on character and its sophisticated take on Roman history. Number 11. Constantine and the Cross, 1961. Constantine and the Cross is a sprawling historical epic that dramatizes the rise of Constantine the Great and his eventual role in the legalization of Christianity within the Roman Empire. Directed by Leonello De Felice and Irving Rapper, the 1961 film stars Cornel Wilde as the legendary emperor who must navigate a landscape of political betrayal and civil war. The narrative culminates in the historically pivotal Battle of the Milvian Bridge, where Constantine is said to have seen a vision of the cross that led him to victory. Cornel Wilde, known for his physical prowess and athletic acting style, brings a sense of heroic vitality to the role, effectively portraying Constantine as both a capable general and a visionary leader. The film is significant for its large-scale battle sequences, which utilize thousands of extras and practical effects to recreate the ancient clashing of armies. Production details indicate that the film was an international co-production between Italy and Yugoslavia, allowing for massive locations and impressive architectural recreations that were difficult to achieve in standard Hollywood studio sets. The screenplay explores the transition from pagan traditions to the Christian faith, framing it within the context of a struggle for the soul of the Roman Empire. Belinda Lee also appears in a supporting role, adding to the film's dramatic weight. Historically, the film is noted for its attempt to balance religious significance with the gritty realities of Roman military life, making it a staple for audiences interested in the intersection of faith and history. The film's legacy is tied to the grand tradition of mid-century epics that aim to educate as much as they aim to entertain. Number 10. The Saga of Anatahan, 1953. The Saga of Anatahan, released in 1953, represents a singular and deeply personal project for the legendary Hollywood director Joseph von Sternberg. Based on a true story that emerged after World War II, the film follows a group of Japanese sailors and one woman who are stranded on the remote island of Anatahan for 7 years, unaware that the war has ended. Von Sternberg exercised unprecedented creative control over the production, serving as the director, screenwriter, cinematographer, and even providing the English-language narration. The film is historically significant for being produced entirely in Japan with a local cast, yet it was shot on a meticulously constructed indoor set to allow von Sternberg to manipulate every aspect of the lighting and atmosphere. This artifice creates a dreamlike, almost claustrophobic environment that mirrors the psychological unraveling of the men as they compete for the attention of the lone woman, Akemi Negishi. Production trivia reveals that von Sternberg considered this his favorite film, as it allowed him to return to the stylized visual language that defined his early masterpieces with Marlene Dietrich. The film explores themes of isolation, sexual jealousy, and the endurance of military duty long after the cause has been lost. While it wasn't a commercial success upon its initial release, it has since been rediscovered by film historians as a masterclass in atmospheric direction and a unique bridge between Western and Eastern cinematic traditions. The focus on the primal nature of humanity when stripped of societal rules makes it a haunting and unforgettable historical drama. Number 9. Jacob, the Man Who Fought with God, 1963. Jacob, the Man Who Fought with God is an Italian biblical drama directed by Marcello Baldi in 1963, part of a series of films that aim to adapt the foundational stories of the Old Testament for the screen. The narrative focuses on the life of the patriarch Jacob, portrayed by Giorgio Cerioni, following his journey from the betrayal of his brother Esau to his transformative spiritual encounter where he wrestles with an angel. Historically, the film is significant for its attempt to maintain a reverent and sincere tone, avoiding the excessive sensationalism that often crept into later biblical productions. The production utilized the rugged landscapes of the Mediterranean to stand in for the ancient Near East, creating a sense of timelessness and geographic authenticity. Marcello Baldi's direction emphasizes the human elements of the story, framing Jacob's struggles with family, faith, and identity in a way that remains relatable to modern audiences. The screenplay, co-written by Ottavio Gemma and Giuseppe Mangione, stays relatively faithful to the biblical text, while expanding on the emotional inner life of the characters. Production trivia suggests that the film was part of a broader effort by Italian filmmakers to provide high-quality religious education through the medium of popular cinema, often supported by local cultural organizations. Giorgio Cerioni provides a grounded performance that captures the flaws and eventual spiritual growth of the character, making it a significant entry for those interested in the history of religious filmmaking during the mid-20th century. The film's focus on the personal relationship between the divine and the individual makes it a quiet but powerful epic. Number 8. Pirates of the Coast, 1960. Pirates of the Coast, directed by Domenico Paolella in 1960, is a spirited and action-packed swashbuckler that stars Lex Barker, an actor who achieved international fame as Tarzan before transitioning into European adventure films. Barker plays a heroic naval officer who is tasked with infiltrating a dangerous band of pirates operating along the Caribbean coastline to stop their raids on merchant shipping. The film is a quintessential example of the pirate genre's resurgence in European cinema, characterized by elaborate ship-to-ship battles, sword fights, and high-stakes rescues. Lex Barker's physical presence and established reputation as an action hero bring a level of credibility to the production, which emphasizes practical stunts and maritime adventure. Production trivia reveals that the film utilized authentic coastal locations and large-scale ship models to create a convincing world of 17th-century piracy. Domenico Paolella was a veteran of the adventure genre, and his direction ensures that the pacing remains brisk and the action sequences are well choreographed. The film also features Estella Blaine as the romantic interest, adding a layer of drama to the seafaring exploits. Historically, Pirates of the Coast is significant for how it adapted the tropes of Hollywood swashbucklers for a European audience, often with a slightly more gritty and realistic edge than its American counterparts. Lex Barker's success in these roles helped pave the way for other international actors to find work in the thriving Italian and French genre markets of the 1960s. It remains a fun and visually engaging example of the maritime epic, perfect for fans of classic adventure. Number 7. Constantine the Great, 1961. Constantine the Great is an alternate presentation of the 1961 historical drama that follows the pivotal events leading to the unification of Rome and the rise of Christianity. This particular upload provides another opportunity to view the collaborative work of directors Leonello de Felice and Irving Rapper, focusing on the massive production values that went into recreating the 4th century Roman world. The film is historically significant for its depiction of the Edict of Milan, a document that fundamentally changed the course of Western history by granting religious tolerance. Cornel Wilde's performance is notable for its balance of military sternness and spiritual awakening, capturing the internal conflict of a man destined to change the world. Production details highlight the film's status as a Yugoslavian co-production, which provided access to thousands of military extras from the Yugoslav People's Army to serve as Roman legions. This gave the battle scenes, particularly the climactic struggle against the forces of Maxentius, a sense of authenticity and scale that was rarely matched by other peplum films. The score, composed by Mario Nasimbini, adds a grand and heroic atmosphere to the proceedings, utilizing ancient-sounding themes to ground the epic in its historical period. Critical impact was positive for its production scale, with many contemporary reviewers noting that the film felt more like a prestigious Hollywood epic than a standard genre flick. The film's focus on the strategic and political realities of the Roman civil wars, combined with its religious narrative, makes it an essential piece of historical cinema for fans of the grand epic tradition. Number 6. Ursus in the Valley of the Lions, 1961. Ursus in the Valley of the Lions, released in 1961 and directed by Carlo Ludovico Bragaglia, is a classic entry in the mythological peplum subgenre that focuses on the character of Ursus, a Herculean figure known for his immense strength. Ed Fury, a prominent American bodybuilder and actor of the era, stars as Ursus, who must navigate a landscape of treachery and ancient prophecy to reclaim his rightful place as king. The film is particularly noted for its use of live animals, including lions, in its gladiatorial and arena sequences, which added a level of physical danger and realism to the production. Ed Fury's impressive physique and earnest performance made him a favorite among fans of the genre, and he frequently appeared in various roles across the Italian sword and sandal cycle. Historically, the film is significant for how it differentiates Ursus from similar characters like Messalina or Hercules, often focusing on his connection to nature and his role as a protector of the innocent. Production trivia indicates that Moira Orfei, who plays the female lead, was a member of the famous Italian circus family, which explains her comfort and skill during the film's animal sequences. The cinematography takes full advantage of the vibrant costumes and elaborate set designs that were the hallmark of early 1960s Italian epics. The film's blend of action, mythology, and romantic intrigue made it a commercial success in both Europe and the United States, further cementing Ed Fury's status as a genre icon. It is an entertaining and visually striking example of the mythological epic, showcasing the physical culture and spectacle of its time. Number 5. The Terror of Rome Against the Son of Hercules, 1964. The Terror of Rome Against the Son of Hercules, directed by Mario Caiano in 1964, is a high-octane gladiatorial epic that stars Mark Forrest, another legendary figure of the bodybuilding to cinema transition. Forrest plays Messalina, often renamed the Son of Hercules for American markets, a man of legendary strength who becomes a gladiator to fight against the tyranny of a corrupt Roman official. The film is historically significant for its intense focus on the gladiatorial games, featuring well-choreographed fight sequences and elaborate arena sets. Mark Forrest's athleticism and screen presence bring a sense of genuine power to the role, effectively carrying the film through its many action-packed sequences. Production trivia notes that Mario Caiano was one of the most prolific directors of Italian genre cinema, known for his ability to deliver high-quality action on a tight schedule. The film's plot involves political conspiracy, secret alliances, and the struggle for freedom, themes that were common in the later years of the peplum boom. The cinematography utilizes high-contrast lighting to emphasize the physical strain and brutality of the gladiatorial combat. Historically, the film is noted for being one of the more polished and professional entries in the Son of Hercules series, which was famously syndicated on American television in the 1960s and 1970s. Mark Forrest's performance is often ranked among the best of the muscleman actors, as he brought a level of charisma and dramatic weight to his physical roles. It remains a definitive example of the gladiator subgenre, offering a thrilling look at ancient Roman combat through the lens of mid-century genre cinema. Number 4. Drake of England, 1935. Drake of England, also known as Drake the Pirate, is a 1935 British historical drama that chronicles the legendary exploits of Sir Francis Drake. Directed by Arthur B. Woods, the film stars Matheson Lang as the famed navigator and Athene Sailor as Queen Elizabeth I. The narrative focuses on Drake's historic voyage around the world and his pivotal role in the defeat of the Spanish Armada. Historically, the film is significant for being produced during a time when the British film industry was striving to create national epics that could compete with Hollywood's output. Matheson Lang provides a dignified and authoritative portrayal of Drake, emphasizing his role as both a brilliant sailor and a loyal servant of the crown. The production is noted for its impressive naval sequences, utilizing large-scale ship models and practical effects to recreate the clashing fleets of the 16th century. Production trivia reveals that the film was based on a popular play by Louis N. Parker, which had enjoyed success on the London stage. The screenplay explores the political tensions between England and Spain, framing Drake's actions as essential for the survival of the nation. Athene Sailor's portrayal of Queen Elizabeth I is often cited as a standout, capturing the Queen's intelligence and formidable nature. The film's focus on naval tradition and national pride made it a success in the United Kingdom, further solidifying the career of director Arthur B. Woods before it was tragically cut short by his death in World War II. It remains a fascinating example of early British sound cinema and its approach to national history and maritime legend. Number 3. The Magic Sword, 1962. The Magic Sword is a colorful and imaginative fantasy epic directed by Burt I. Gordon in 1962, a filmmaker famously known for his work with giant creatures and special effects. The film tells the story of a young man, Gary Lockwood, who embarks on a quest to rescue a princess from the clutches of an evil sorcerer, played with scenery-chewing delight by the legendary Basil Rathbone. Along the way, he must overcome 7 deadly curses using a magic sword and a group of resurrected knights. Historically, the film is significant for its creative use of practical special effects and its attempt to bring a storybook fantasy world to life. Basil Rathbone, best known for his portrayal of Sherlock Holmes, brings a sense of sophisticated menace to the role of the villain, Lodak. Production trivia notes that the film was one of the few high fantasy projects of its time that didn't rely on a strictly biblical or mythological foundation, instead leaning into the tropes of medieval folklore and sorcery. Burt I. Gordon's direction is noted for its brisk pacing and its emphasis on visual spectacle, including the various monsters and magical traps that the hero must face. Gary Lockwood provides a charming and heroic lead performance, several years before he would achieve science fiction immortality in 2001, A Space Odyssey. The film's vibrant cinematography and imaginative set designs made it a favorite among young audiences, and it has since gained a cult following for its unique charm and Rathbone's memorable villainy. It is a quintessential example of early 1962 fantasy cinema, offering a world of magic and adventure that is perfect for fans of the genre's roots. Number 2. The Pilgrimage Play, 1949. The Pilgrimage Play is a 1949 dramatic recreation of the life of Jesus Christ, directed by Frank R. Strayer. The film is based on a long-running outdoor stage play by Christine Wetherill Stevenson that was performed annually in Hollywood, becoming a significant part of the local cultural landscape. Starring Nelson Lee as Jesus, the film focuses on the central teachings and events of the New Testament, maintaining a reverent and theatrical tone throughout. Historically, the film is significant for its preservation of a specific era of American religious drama, where stage traditions were directly adapted for the growing medium of sound film. Nelson Lee, who made a career out of playing religious figures, provides a gentle and authoritative performance that adheres to the mid-century cinematic standards for portraying the divine. The production is noted for its simple yet effective set designs, which were intended to evoke the feel of the original outdoor theater performances. Production trivia reveals that the film was often used by religious organizations for educational and spiritual purposes, helping to bring the experience of the Pilgrimage Play to audiences far beyond Southern California. Frank R. Strayer, a veteran director of various genres, ensured that the film maintained a clear and accessible narrative structure. The film's focus on the moral and spiritual lessons of the gospel made it a staple of mid-century religious programming. While it lacks the massive budget of later biblical blockbusters, its sincerity and historical connection to the Hollywood community make it a fascinating study in the history of religious performance and cinema. Number 1. The Private Life of Henry VIII, 1933. The Private Life of Henry VIII, released in 1933 and directed by Alexander Korda, is a landmark achievement in British cinema and one of the most successful historical dramas of all time. Charles Laughton provides an Oscar-winning performance in the title role, capturing the king's boisterous nature, his vulnerability, and his ruthless pursuit of a male heir. The film is historically significant for being the first non-American production to win an Academy Award for an actor, and its massive international success helped establish Alexander Korda's London films as a major player in the global market. The narrative explores Henry's relationships with 5 of his 6 wives, moving away from the dry historical record to provide a witty, dramatic, and often humorous look at the Tudor court. Production details indicate that Korda utilized lavish set designs and costumes to create a world of opulence that felt incredibly modern for 1933. Charles Laughton's performance is legendary, particularly the famous scenes of him eating that helped define the public's image of the monarch for generations. The film co-stars Robert Donat and Merle Oberon, adding to the high-caliber dramatic weight of the ensemble. Critical impact was immense, as the film proved that British cinema could deliver high-quality, entertaining epics that resonated with a global audience. The screenplay, co-written by Arthur Wimperis, balances courtly intrigue with domestic drama, making Henry VIII feel like a complex, living human being rather than a static figure from a textbook. It remains a masterpiece of the genre and a definitive look at one of history's most fascinating rulers. These 15 classic epics demonstrate that YouTube remains a vital archive for cinematic history, offering a direct portal to legendary performances and groundbreaking production techniques. From biblical narratives to historical dramas, these films showcase the incredible scale and ambition of mid-century filmmaking. Subscribe for more curated guides to essential cinema, and let us know in the comments which grand stories you will watch first.